Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. My name is Jane Applegath, an award-winning former stockbroker, television producer, script writer, yoga instructor, and serial entrepreneur, now founder of the Epic Vision Zone. My goal is to put you in the driver's seat of your greatest epic story so that you can live at the speed of your most audacious dreams, a place where life roars with purpose, prosperity, and love. Here at the Epic Vision Zone, we bring you some of the world's most influential people to inspire you to hit the go button on your epic life. A big thank you for joining us here today. Davis Willis wrote, "Don't use social media to impress people, use it to impact people." Shannon Giordano will tell you she's not a digital native, which I'm really anxious to get into, but she loves social media when she's using it for good, to connect us, to share authentically, and to build relationships. She is passionate about helping women business owners and entrepreneurs build a strategy to authentically share their products and services online with the goal of getting the best return on the investment from social media marketing. What gets her out of bed in the morning, other than the need to get her teenage boys up for school, is helping business owners and entrepreneurs build the social media community they dream of. She can't wait to show others what a social media strategist can do to help you kick your social media into high gear. Welcome, Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks so much, Jane. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we just chatted briefly before she came on, and I am really, really interested in what inspired you to become a digital entrepreneur, seeing as that that's not your first native calling.
Yeah, I was working in marketing in a financial firm and loving that. And under my purview was owning the online experience for clients. So I was
Mm.
familiar with the online world. It definitely was part of my job, but I was not doing social media marketing. And I started moonlighting. I met somebody who was looking for someone to build up their social media presence. And it was a company called Fertility Planet. It was all about family building and infertility and connecting parents with resources. And I had been through infertility. So I thought, I know these are my people. I know their tone of voice. I know what I would have wanted to hear. So I just started, raised my hand and did it for free. I'm kind of a haphazard entrepreneur. I did not set out to leave the corporate world. I didn't mean to. It's just that a few years in, I had a number of clients that said to me, "Hey, I see what you did for Fertility Planet. Will you do it for me? I'll pay you." So I thought, yeah, why not?
Wow, that's an accidental entrepreneur. That is the best kind because, like you said, it kind of found you in the sense that, you did this project.
It did. And I will say, though, that I had been putting it out into the universe for probably 5 years, that I really
Mm.
was longing to do something a little more creative, a little more driven by me, something that didn't require me to be away from my house 12 to 14 hours a day. So it was almost like that was percolating for a number of years until all of a sudden the universe sort of said, well, here it is, Shannon.
Here it is. Right. It's up to you to take the action to get it going. Right. Well, that's fabulous. I could see definitely how it just sort of melded one into the other, and it was a natural. And so now tell me, what do you love about social media?
I love that it's a good connector of people. In my bio, it says I love when it's used for good because I know there's a lot of shallowness on social media. There's a lot of fear of missing out. There's a lot of feeling like everyone else has it figured out and I don't. But I love it when it allows people to connect authentically. And I think that that really came to a head during COVID when online was really the only way we could connect. So really the job is to figure out how do you show up as yourself in a way that feels good to you and to build a community of people who care about you that you can also interact with on a daily basis. I love when social media is used for that.
Right. And I could see how that would definitely be a useful tool because it can be very useful. And we all want connection. I mean, that's just human nature. And the digital world, it can be good and it can be bad, but I know exactly what you're talking about because, I have a young niece and she's all over social media, everything, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, but she uses it more for herself. And I'm like, okay, that's really interesting. But she's a teenager. Well, you have teenage boys, so I'm sure you deal with that as well. But in business, it can be used if we approach it with strategy. And we're going to get into that a little later, because this is why I find this topic very exciting and very useful for entrepreneurs and for all businesses, quite frankly. Whether you want to or not, the world is pushing us into this realm, right? I mean, that's exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So tell us about the vision behind the name of your company, Serendipity Social Media, which, by the way, I love. It just says it all.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always loved the word serendipity. I love this feeling of a happy accident or the universe sort of bringing things to you when the time is right. I will say, having a good social media strategy is not a happy accident. It does require some planning. So, in that way, maybe it doesn't jive. But I really love this feeling that. That there's endless possibilities out there, and there's opportunity for serendipity, for connecting in a way that you didn't think possible. I also kind of loved the alliteration of serendipity social. So as a writer, I felt like, well, that sounds nice together.
Yeah, that makes sense, but I do love it because it definitely suggests where you're going to take clients, and how useful that can be. So, building an online community, what do you see as the best way for businesses to build a community online?
I think the first thing is to think about, where are the people that you're trying to reach spending their time? So you make sure that you're on the right platform to start with. And then really, what are you trying to share with them? What's the thing that keeps them up at night? What's the challenge they have? And then I think the most impactful thing probably that came out of COVID is that people are sharing in a more personal way. So not just sharing, a promotional post about, buy this thing, buy this service I have, buy this product I have. It's much more about the personal story of why the thing you share, why you're so passionate about it, right? Why it's changed your life or why it's changed the lives of other people. So I love storytelling content. I love video driven content. When you're really sharing authentically about why you found what you do to be meaningful, to share that with other people. I mean, there are always a lot of people, or at least other people, who do what we do. But we don't need to attract every person in the world. We need to attract the people that want to work with us because they like our tone of voice. They like how we speak to them. They like the way that we approach the work. So sharing those kinds of things in social media, I think, is really, really important.
Well, that is a perfect segue into our next question, because what does it mean to hone your client's social media voice, and how do you go about doing that? Because I know I agree with you 100% that it's really all about that connection, because there's a great saying that I use over and over again. It's roomy, but it says, who you seek is seeking you, but you have to build that
Mm.
connection, right there. It's all about universal, the vibration and the frequency. There are people on your frequency, but you just have to learn to tune into it. So tell us how you go about honing your clients' voices so that connection finds each other.
Yeah, I think part of it is because back to that story of how I started with, building a community of people that were going through infertility. Those were my people. Like those were the people that I could put myself in their shoes. I knew the words that they wanted to use or that what they would want to hear. I knew the way that they would want to feel. And so I think by starting in that world, I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, okay, I think this is my superpower. I think I like this. This is like right in my wheelhouse, or I don't want to use too many sayings in one sentence. And I think when I say tone of voice, I mean the words you use, whether they're written or spoken, how you're trying to make people feel. Because again, back to that feeling of there can be a lot of people that are real estate agents or financial advisors or whatever it is that we do, but you use words that resonate with you, that are part of your mission, that kind of you feel them in your heart and your soul, and you share those words. And the people that resonate with those words are going to come to you and be like, oh, yes, all right, that you're speaking my language. So constantly thinking about who are the people that really need what you do, and how can you speak to them in a way that feels good to them so they really feel like they're being seen and heard and they can see themselves in what you're talking about.
Yes, that is absolutely so true. It's really about stoking that emotion in them. So, how, like you said, maybe one exercise would be to sit down and say, how do your clients feel? Like wherever that space is, whatever your expertise might be. So how is that making them feel? Because we often all
Right.
go to the process. Everybody jumps to how they're, or their degrees. Because I was just speaking with a client recently and I said, well, tell me what the results people would get if they were dealing with you. And she says, well, I've got a degree in this and I've run for this and I've done that. And I said, those are all processes. That's not how they're going to feel after they,
Right.
take those things. And it's really, you're correct. We have to stop and think, because that's the energy, right? That's the exchange, because emotions are energy in motion. And so when we
Right.
trigger that, and yeah, I love that. That's really, really so profound and useful. So, what are the biggest challenges then, would you say, facing business owners on social media?
Well, most of the time when I ask clients, what's your biggest challenge? It's always consistency. I fall off the wagon, I post consistently, or I'm out there, I'm doing all the things, and then I can't keep up with it. And usually when I get under that, it's because they're trying to do things in a way that doesn't feel authentic to them. Like somebody told them you have to post 3 times a day and you have to be on every social media platform out there because it's free. And if you create a strategy that's so hard, that feels so alien to you, what ends up happening is you shut down and you do nothing. So I think that it's about finding a way to have a cadence or a consistency that keeps you in people's feeds and keeps people knowing that you're still in business, but doesn't feel so cumbersome. And then the second thing I hear a lot about is content. So it's really hard to come up with good, interesting content. I think there's this pressure people feel that they have to be original all the time. They have to say something that no one's ever said before. They can't repurpose content or share things 2 times. And I think that that's crazy. You can talk about the same topic that 3 other people are talking about, but you just need to bring your voice to that, because you might resonate with someone in a way that all those other people who are talking about this are not resonating with them. So I think getting a handle on what's the consistency that feels good, what can you really build into your time, and building in scheduling tools and things like that. And then how can you have a mix of content or a process that helps you map out creative content so that you don't have to be brilliantly creative every day, because it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you want it to work that way, right? It's the perfection paralysis, because
Right.
I know we've all been there, myself included. It's like, okay, I don't like to waste people's time. I want to say something at least where they learn something, or they have
Right.
a takeaway, or they feel good, and so it's like, okay, we've got to sit down and think about this. And of course, then you're an hour into it and you haven't even posted. Yeah, it's like, oh my Lord, I don't want to do this all the time, right? I
Right,
certainly get it.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and you
it's
can't
going.
be brilliantly, in your creative genius every day. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, we'd like to be, but it just doesn't. The switch isn't there to flip off and on. It's getting into that flow state, and maybe when you're there, write down a couple of things so that you don't have to start from square one. I've heard that often, that if you're in that, you block at that time, but then you get in a creative state, and then you maybe can do 3 or 4 different topics that you can use. But it all sounds great in
Yeah.
theory, but it takes practice. Yeah, it's practice, absolutely. But yeah, I've heard that so much and so many times, and I'm guilty as well, for sure. So what
Yeah.
tactics do you recommend for staying relevant in today's ever-changing social media world?
Yeah, this is a tough one. So I think, being part of a group where someone like me we're staying abreast of things and we can bring them to you is a good idea. Following people that are influencers, Adam Mosseri shares on Instagram weekly about what's happening and what's coming down the pike for Instagram. So that's a great way to get insights. There are other resources like the Social Media Examiner. There are different experts. And then I think just spending time on the platforms so that you know what people are doing. How are they sharing on that platform? Because things change over time because people's tastes change over time too, right? So something that worked really well last week might not work well this week. So you have to really look at the analytics and figure out what's working and how, and then just try to, yeah, be on the platforms and seek the advice of people who are following more closely what the changes are that are coming.
Right. And also we can you know, I listen to other people on social media, as I'm sure you do as well, because that can provide a source of inspiration. It can
Right.
and provide you right. I mean, it's not like they're copywritten. I mean, there's things that people love to hear and things that people are tuned into in that particular week or month or time of year. And so I'll often even go on Instagram and because you connect with people that inspire you or that you like, and you think, oh yeah, that's a great topic. I could say something about that. Like you said, you could say it differently. But yeah, it's
That's
it's
right.
not about reinventing the wheel. But I know we all want to be geniuses, and we are in our own right. But
Right.
we have to put it out there. So Instagram Reels. Now here's something where I know a lot of people get stuck. Not
Right.
the young generation; they're like overkill. But do I have to do Reels on Instagram?
So the short answer is yes. But the longer answer is that I think people have a preconceived notion of what a reel is. So, even a year ago, there was IGTV, there were reels, there were story videos, and there were shorter form videos that would be on your profile. Probably about 2 weeks ago now, Adam Mosseri came out and said, everything is called a reel now. So you should take away the word reel from your vocabulary and just think video. And then think, how can I show up on video periodically? Because that's going to get me the best engagement. But you don't have to point, you don't have to dance, you don't have to follow everything that everyone else is doing. You just have to find a way that feels really comfortable to you because that's going to be the reel that you're willing to create. It's a great idea if you can do some video with your face in it, talking, sharing people about your brilliance. But short of that too, there are reels with static photos, there are reels with other kinds of videos that you can cobble together. So there are so many different ways to use reels. And so I think first is to get over the mindset of, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to dance. And then the second is find the way that works for you. What feels comfortable where you think, okay, I can do that. And then the third thing I'll say is batching them is a great idea. So if you have a great hair day, you're feeling really good about yourself, you have a nice outfit on, do 3 or 4 of them, and then that will cover you for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes, absolutely. Because let's face it, we're now, especially if working from home, there'll be days when you're not have your makeup on, or like you said, you're not feeling great, or whatever the case might be. But you say you can batch them. So do you save them then? I'm just asking a question. Do you save them on Instagram, or do you save them on your computer and then download them?
So there's a couple of things you can do. You can just take the videos with your phone and save them on your phone and then have them there. You can create reels in Canva instead. So Canva is a free application, sort of like Photoshop, but much easier to use. So then you can just save them as drafts in your Canva. You can also, if you're going to schedule them, you can schedule reels, save them as a draft in Meta or schedule them for one this week, one next week, one the week after. So I think it's about finding the way that feels the most comfortable for you. I tend to just do them on my phone and leave them on my phone until I'm ready to use them. But you can also upload, you could, create 4 or 5 of them, upload them to Canva, upload them to Metaverse, and just save them as drafts and then roll them out that way.
Okay. Could you upload them to your computer? Like, let's say if you
Absolutely.
did them on Zoom, for example, because a lot of people use
Sure.
that because it's easy. They record it on Zoom and then you download it, and then you can just grab it from there to upload it. Because Meta, that's a
Yes, you can.
storage. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you can schedule it. You can, if you store them on your computer, you can store them in Dropbox. You can do, whatever works for you, and then
Right.
they share them that way.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's a terrific way to do it. I think that I just speaking for myself and others who've asked, that's something where they say, well, if I do batch them, where do I put them? Do I put them? Does Instagram have a place where I can put it there? But no, it's not. You just grab them and from somewhere else. So that's perfect. Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that information. How do you motivate a reluctant business owner to share their products and services on social media?
So I think you have to get under what's the issue. So is it the time is challenging, then you can work on batching. Is it like I recently worked with someone who's a spa owner and she said, I don't want my face out there. Like, I don't
Mm.
want to be the person that people, I don't want to promote myself. I only want to promote others. So the bottom line is, I know from my perspective, people want to see her because they're going to
Yes.
come to her. She's the
Mhm.
person that they want to see. But what we did was we crafted a way for her to do an Instagram live series where she's interviewing other people, collaborators, clients, people that she partners with, and she's featuring them on Instagram Lives, which is great because what happens is people are seeing her on her Instagram Live. She feels like she's featuring someone else, but in reality,
Right.
she's sharing her own brilliance with the questions she's asking, with the way that it's working. So I think to get under it, you just have to find a way that feels comfortable to you and then do that.
That's brilliant. Really. I mean, that was a brilliant way to get her to be on camera without really being on camera and having her feel
Right.
comfortable doing it because you're absolutely right. People deal with people they like. And if she's
Absolutely.
promoting the business and she's the owner, that's where people are going to resonate because they say, well, I really like her. It sounds like a place that I'd want to be, and et cetera, et cetera. So, but that certainly that kills two birds with one stone because then she's also interviewing others that I'm sure are either in the spa or in the industry, et cetera, and educating clients as to what products that she might use or whatever the interviews were. So yeah, that
Yeah.
totally. I love the way that you can massage things, and that shows creativity because you approach it and you say, well, we need to do this, but you're uncomfortable. So how can we shift that so that you become comfortable and you show your best side? That's brilliant. Thank
Absolutely.
you for that. So there you go. Anybody who doesn't like to be face on camera, well, we can fix that. Just call Shannon. That's a
Yeah,
great
right, right. You
idea.
have
A
to find
great
a way. Right.
Exactly. Find a way. Or even just have yourself speaking with a client, who had a great experience. Boom. There you go.
Absolutely.
So here's where we get into some strategy, as we spoke about briefly at the beginning. So what are some of your top social media strategies?
So I always start with the basics of, making sure you know where your ideal clients are spending time. I mean, I worked with a client before who was sharing TikTok videos, but they were trying to reach people who would donate funds. And they admittedly said, well, those people are actually living on Facebook. Well, then you don't want to be sharing TikTok videos targeted at people who are not spending time on TikTok. So thinking about where your clients are spending time, what's the thing that wakes them up at night that you fix? And then taking a step back, like kind of having that person in mind. Sometimes I even write my ideal client's name out and I'll have it in front of me as I'm writing posts, so that I really keep them front of mind. And then thinking about what story can I tell that that person will see themselves in. So whether it's a story that you're going to record or a story that you're going to type a post with. So those are the ways that I approach like a specific post, but then strategies around planning. I think there are a lot of different tools you can use. There are content calendars you can create to have a month-long view. Some of my clients prefer to just have brainstorming sessions where they come up with 12 weeks of email content and then they carve those emails into their 5 social media posts that week. So really kind of putting that structured format in place that's going to set you up for success, because then the day-to-day becomes really easy. Then the day to day, you don't have to necessarily know what you're going to post next Tuesday. But if you know on Tuesday, that's a day that you do a video where you share a top tip, something that's really important to you in your business. When you sit down to create the video, you already know that's what you're going to do that day. You're not thinking, oh no, what am I going to say? What am I going to post
Right.
today? What am I going to do? So having that kind of planned, structured approach and finding one that works for you. Because I've definitely worked with clients where I'll share a content calendar and they'll say, oh, I hate Google. I'm not doing anything on a Google calendar. And I think, okay, then let's come up with something different.
Right. Right. Being flexible. There's
Yes.
always, yeah, the flexibility has to be there. Sport, of course, as entrepreneurs, you have to be flexible all the time. But when you're dealing with social media, a lot of people clam up if it's not their wheelhouse.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And being, ready to kind of pivot too. If you look at the, engagement data and one certain kind of post is not really resonating with your followers anymore, then you shift away from that and try something else.
Right. And having a plan. I mean, that's so vital because you're right. You don't have to think about it. That's all going back to, maybe you batch you're having a great day or you plan for that day and you batch a bunch of reels or videos, however you want to call it, so that then you have those ready to go. Or, you're very creative and you think, oh, I could talk on this topic, this topic, this topic. And then you just start writing it down. And then when you have that good hair day, you get your camera out and you video it. Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah,
Right.
it's planning, I mean, knowing the strategies, approaching it with that plan, excuse me. And the giving yourself the space, that today this
Right.
is, I'm going to be doing this. And like you said, starting with your clients and what they are going to feel. So there is a whole framework to the work that you do, which is when you approach it that way, then you see it in a different light. It doesn't become one of these, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use it. I can't, I don't want to be on camera, blah, blah, blah. It becomes a completely different animal. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That,
And I guarantee you, anyone that's doing social media really well is not just slapping it together on a daily basis. They are doing this kind of planning.
yes, yes. We should look at, is there anybody you really like that you feel that has a good example of a page, whatever platform it is?
Oh, that's a good question. I follow a lot of coaches and I like a lot of wisdom around coaching. I follow Gabby Bernstein. I
Hmm.
follow Maria Forleo, like a lot of people that are
Right.
talking about mindset and how you approach life and approach, Mel Robbins and others. And I think
Yes.
that they're very seamless with how they share what feels very personal, but they're not sharing their inner secrets. They're not sharing, like things that are not comfortable. So I love to learn from that to try to figure out consistently or constantly what's authentic to me right now. How am I going to share that?
Right. Well, thank you for those. So yes, Mel Robbins, Gabby Bernstein, absolutely. I know all of these ladies, and Marie Forleo. Yeah. So those might give you some inspiration. It doesn't mean that they're talking on the topic that you would be talking on, but you could see how
Right.
maybe they deliver it, the authenticity, where it's not always so formal or stilted. I know sometimes they just pop on there and or they cut reels from something else. But yes, that those are great names. Thank you for that. I always look for inspiration for those who have done it and they're very successful, because then you can learn from them.
Right.
It's like anything else. Yeah. What are some of the biggest social media mistakes that people make?
I think the biggest mistake is just sharing promotional things all the time. I'm hosting an event. I
Mm,
have this product. Buy this from me. Buy this from me. Buy this from me. Because even when people love you, even people who do buy from you, if you don't give them a reason to check back with you, to follow you for it when they're not in the market for the thing that you sell, then they you kind of fall off their radar screen. They stop following you. The algorithm stops serving your posts up to them. So you want to constantly be thinking about the mix of posts, that there's some value add thrown in, some informational, educational, some lighthearted fun behind the scenes looks at what you do, in addition to your promotional stuff. I think that's probably the biggest one that I see. The second downfall or pitfall, I think, is when people post and ghost. So they post something
mm,
and people engage in it and they never engage back with the post themselves. And so that's huge. I mean, the whole point in posting is to have people talk about it with you and you to go back and talk about it with them. And try to talk about it in a substantive way. So if someone says, geez, Shannon, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. Rather than me just saying, thanks, I'm going to say, I thought so too. And here's why, because I want to give them a reason to then say something back to me. So really considering engagement is really the gold standard, trying to get people to have a conversation with you. That's going to build your whole online presence the best, the fastest.
Yes, that's true. You're right. If they just post it and then, people start liking it and commenting, and you just, every time that happens and you just completely ignore everybody, then you're not making that connection, which is the
Right.
whole purpose of the social media. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Now, tell us about your coaching program. How, if it's one-on-one or their group coaching, just delve into that somewhat. And so our audience can know how you work.
Absolutely. So I have both one-on-one and group. One-on-one is kind of two flavors. One I call a VIP experience, and it's really a point in time. So someone that comes to me and says, I'm super busy. I just want to figure this out. I want to get a strategy figured out, a content calendar, and then I'm going to run with it and I'm going to be fine. That's great. That's a great VIP client. That's a great point in time. But then I have clients that will say to me, yeah, I'm going to fall off the wagon. I need more ongoing support, more collaboration, more, meet with me on an ongoing basis. So those clients I meet with from anywhere from 3, 6, 9 months, depending on what they need. So they get that same sort of VIP experience, but then I'm walking with them as they implement the changes that they're trying to make. So those are the ways that I work one-on-one with people. And then I do have a group program that I've been running this summer, and it launches again in October. And the group program is really, it's called, oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of what I called it right now. It's called something like From Confused to Courageous. So it's really meant to be about setting your strategy for the month, understanding exactly where you want to go, but then mid-month to later in the month, having a mindset piece come in. So a call when we can all get on the phone together on the Zoom and just talk about what's holding you back, what's challenging you. Is it some new technology that you're trying to learn? Is it that you're struggling to plan your content? What is the thing that's holding you back? Because those are really the two greatest challenges. And I think the group atmosphere is perfect for solving those.
Oh, yes. I love the idea of getting people together because you share, but also you go, oh, yeah, I had that issue too, when you might have forgotten about it. Or you say, it makes you feel like you're not the dummy in the room, right? Especially as you get,
Absolutely.
yeah, the older
And we
clientele.
all feel like that.
Yeah.
Yes, and I remember what the program's called now. It's From Cautious to Courageous. And because I think that all of us are kind of trying to dip our toes in and be a little cautious and figure out things. But then there are times when you just have to be a little bit bold. I love the movie We Bought a Zoo, and Matt Damon talks to his kids about how he needed 10 minutes of solid courage or bravery in order to meet his wife. And I feel like that with social media too. You just need to kind of take a deep breath, shore yourself up, and just be a little courageous and try some new things.
Yes, absolutely. It's stepping out of your comfort zone. It's growing. I mean, it
Yes.
really is. I mean, that's what this is because it's being on camera, it's presenting yourself, it's saying something that you hope will resonate with individuals. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, or I mean, the nice thing is though, it doesn't have to be live. You can
Mm.
practice, and if it comes out terrible, then erase it and start all over again. It's like I
Exactly.
have to tell a story because I was working on making a post a few weeks ago, and I couldn't, I wanted to post because it was time to post, and I couldn't think of anything to say. And I was just like, I sat there for half an hour going, oh my God, and then I started laughing at myself because I said, this is ridiculous. I'm sitting here with the phone ready, and I kept pushing the record button and going, I'm on here. I got nothing to say. I'm just pulling a blank. And then I just started getting the giggles, and I said, I'm just going to post it. I was being silly. I said, well, there is value in being silly. I made it on being silly. I said, sometimes we just don't have anything profound to say. So why not just be silly and be happy today? So,
I
and
totally
that's,
agree.
we always want to sound and present ourselves professionally, because I get it. I've been in the brokerage business, which is the finance, and you as well. I mean, financial industry, everything is very professional, very,
Right.
just cut and dry. And so when you have that in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, I can't possibly go on and do this. This is ridiculous. People, what are people going to think? They're going to think, well, you're a human.
Exactly. And it might be the most impactful thing. It might be the thing that attracts someone to
Yes.
you. And all of a sudden they think she is the one that I want to work with right now. That's the energy I need in
Yes.
my life. It's amazing when that
Absolutely.
happens.
I know. And I had a great time. I just kept laughing and laughing. But anyway, that's the thing. Have fun with it. Let's loosen
Right.
up. But I do love the fact that you get everybody together in that group coaching, because then everybody can share, and then you don't feel so stupid, because we beat ourselves up. Or then you and a light bulb goes on because someone else says something. So yeah, I think that's terrific. And we'll have that information on your bio pages. So be
Okay.
sure to get us that link, but we'll be sure that people are aware of that. So that's fabulous. And why do you do what you do?
Oh, it's such a good question. I think, I started in search of having really creative, interesting work. I had been in a job where I learned how to be successful and have quantifiable skills and do all this stuff. And I'm grateful for that time, but I really wanted to do something that felt more creative, that every day would feel very different, that I could do all kinds of things. That's where it started. And now I feel like it's such a mission to help other middle aged women or midlife women like me figure out how to show up on social media. You don't have to be a 25-year-old, look like a 25-year-old, do what a 25-year-old does. You just have to find your own path through. And I feel like that's sort of become my gift, my thing that I really, really am passionate about doing. And because I have navigated myself, I run into the same mindset issues that everybody else does. And it's such a joy to help somebody get past that and do something that feels really good for them.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's wonderful when you see the growth that happens. All of a sudden they'll look back the months before and they'll go, wow, I can't believe I was so stuck in doing this. When, I mean, I'm not sure if you've had clients go from that to being happy and enjoying doing the social media posts. I'm sure that that happens sometimes. But yeah, I could see where that would be a very motivating mission to have people, and the fact that you are not 25 years old. It
Right.
just it's proof that it's something that can be learned, it's something that can be enjoyed, and it's something that we can all get value from. So it's not just doing it for fun, like the kids pretty much do it for fun. you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely fabulous. Well, I'm curious now, what makes your services unique to other programs that delve into the social media realm?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of different ways people work with others. Usually people come to me because they want more of an approach that's catered specifically to them. So there are, courses, there are white label services you could get to run your own social media for you. But often people come to me after they've already done that and it hasn't worked for them. And they feel like, I just need someone to look at me, look at my picture, take a deep dive into everything that I'm doing and help me to put together a plan that will change things. That whole definition of insanity, right? Doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. Those are my people who usually they'll come to me and say, I'm doing all the things, Shannon, and I don't know why it's not working. That is totally my jam. So I think it's that I love to look at the specific person, the specific business, and help them see the things that they're doing really, really well, and then where their growth opportunities are, and trying to do some new things that are going to take them to that next level.
Right, right. Would you say also when you're posting, because you do want people to take action, that a call to like you were saying, excuse me, earlier, and it just popped into my head. that you do want people to take some action, would you recommend, like you said, some of your clients come to you and you say, we've tried all this, we've tried all this, we've tried all this, and nothing's working. Is it sometimes you see that they don't have a call to action at a post, or do you recommend that?
I absolutely do. I think there are a number of things that, that are like the common pitfalls. Again, one of them is you have 5 different ideal clients. In every post, you're trying to talk to all of them. So none of them see themselves in
Mm,
your post. And another is, yeah, that you're not asking them to do the thing that you want them to do. Even in your email, if you have email campaigns and you send an email out to people, you tell a great story and then you share something about a new product or service. You don't have to say sign up here, but you could say, if this resonates with you, hit reply to this email. I would love to talk with you. Or something that
mm,
makes people feel like, oh, there's an action that I could take. Because if you don't ask, they're not going to take the action. So you might want to share a story and then say, has this come up for you lately? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, or something like that. So it doesn't even have to be that you're trying to get people to sign up or buy something, just that you're trying to get them to engage.
engage. Yes, I love that. That is the word, is engagement. Social media engagement. Oh, that,
Right.
to me, that says it all right there. Because you're right. It's like you said. You mentioned that people will ghost, like they'll just post something and then not respond. There's no
Right.
engagement, and the whole purpose for it is engagement, right? Yeah,
It is,
that's
because otherwise it looks like you scheduled your posts and then you haven't looked at your platform for the
right.
last few months. So are you even there? Are you there? Are you in business? Are you there? And it often
Yeah,
then the promotional posts come off very salesy because you're not kind of
yeah.
giving back to your community. You're not engaging. You're not sharing. You're not giving back.
Ab- Absolutely, I agree 100%. So while we just touched on a couple of these things, but what do you hope people walk away with from your services? Maybe just name three of the top things that you hope people walk away with.
Yeah, the biggest is I'm a big, feeling kind of person, ease. I want people to walk away feeling
Mm,
like a sense of ease. I can do this. This is easy. This is not rocket science. This is not out of my reach. This is maybe not easy, but at least a sense of ease. And then I want them to walk away with a process. So they have a replicable process they're going to put into place week after week after week, and it's going to help them to build their business. And then, a sense of fun. How are you engaging for fun in this? How are you, like you said, having that, taking a video of yourself when you're just like outtakes or, giggling or whatever, so that you're not so serious and perfect all the time, because people don't buy things from perfect people. They buy things from people that they see themselves in. So, yeah,
mm.
ease, consistency with a process, and then maybe a sense of fun.
I love it. Those are absolutely fabulous. I could see where that would resonate with so many people. I love the ease. I've spoken with other social media experts. You're the first one to say one of the results you hope they walk away with is ease. Isn't that interesting? See, that's a feeling, right? Because that's
Yeah, I mean,
exactly,
it's
yeah. Go ahead.
those are the people that work with me. I think the people that find me have already done the other things that made them feel less than, or made them feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do all of that stuff. I want to find a way, a path through that feels good, that feels like I can't wait to do this stuff.
Yes, yes. I could see the people that come to you are the ones that their hair is standing on end and they're just like, I'm done with social media. I can't do it anymore. That would be a great cartoon because, yeah, is this you? If it is, call me.
Right?
911.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that's fabulous. Of course, the fun, I love that. But the ease, and that was your number one. I mean, yes, that is totally the reason why people in our midlife generation don't do social media and use it as an effective marketing tool, is because it is too difficult, or because they deem it as too difficult, or
Right.
too frustrating. It just, that goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm sure you could come up with a lot of words. But anyway, that's fabulous.
Yes.
Thank you. So, what are you most excited about right now in your life?
Oh gosh, this is probably not business related. So I have my twin boys are now seniors in high school. So I am just excited for this year. I also am sort of like already grieving them moving away, but I'm just
Oh,
really, they're great athletes. So I love to go watch their sporting events and they have great friends. And I'm just excited to be along for this ride. It's an interesting time of life, and I'm really, really looking forward to this year.
wow. Yeah, it's a real transition year. Are they, have they applied to colleges and universities already?
They're in the mix doing it now as
Yeah.
we speak. So Common App, we talk about it every night. Like, how's your essay? Do you have all your recommendations? So yeah, they're in the midst of it.
Yeah, because that's my niece just she's at her first year in university. So she went through this last year. And her mom was like, "Oh my gosh, the paperwork." So yeah, but it's
Yes.
very exciting. I mean, she got scholarships. So she applied to I think 30. She's very ambitious.
Wow.
30. I was like, "Yeah, oh
Yeah.
wow." I said, that's a lot. And they're saying, yeah, because that they didn't encourage her to apply to that many, but she did. And so she had her pick, but it was pretty, it was fun. She was really had a great time with it. So that's fabulous. I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting year for all of you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully they'll
definitely.
go to school nearby, but I don't know.
I know. Yeah, the jury's still out on that one. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't blame them if they want to go where it's more sunshine and beach, but maybe they like the cold weather. Who knows?
Yeah, right, right. Yep.
Yeah. So, any last words that you'd like to share before we go?
No, this has been such a treat. I've really appreciated, Jane. It's fun. This is my jam. I love to talk about social media and how to, use it as a tool for good. So it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been some great information here. I can't wait to share it. And I have one last question because we're here on the Epic Vision Zone. If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
Oh, this is good. Um, I think it would be In Search of Her Voice. It would have to be something around finding my voice, helping people to find their voice. So I'm going to go with In Search of Her Voice.
I love that. That is so perfect for so much. That's you can go so far with that title. Like you're that is a perfect title. I love it. I can't wait for the book. It's In
I guess I
Search
better
of
get
Her Voice.
writing.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you again, Shannon, and thank you for sharing all those incredible tips and information on social media. And if you want to build your social media with ease, Shannon is the lady that you need to speak with. And be sure to check out her website at serendipitysocialmedia.com, where you can grab her free hashtag guide. Everybody needs that. I mean, my gosh, I tear my hair out sometimes trying to come up with hashtags. So be sure to grab that. And you will also find Shannon's contact information and more on the Epic Vision Zone bio pages, including her upcoming group coaching session in October. So go there and find out more information. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath. And don't forget that you can reach out to me at janeapplegath.com, where you can grab your free download, The Keys to Your Dreams. Looking forward to hearing from you. This has been the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.